Good evening, everybody. It's time again for your Rowdies Talk Radio, the green and gold gospel.
Hey there, little Red Riding Hood, I got a problem and it's complicated. Going through changes and I just can't ignore the signs. They're there now and it's so loud it hurts. Hear me growl, hear me howl when the full moon is out. Hear me growl, you see me run, you see me jump. Try to fight, but I emerge with the prize in hand. You better watch out, it's gonna take more than what you got. All eyes are on me and the silence is deafening. There's no help against this full moon. Don't ever say I didn't warn you, because I came to play, came to play, I came to play, came to play, I came to play, came to play, I came to play. Wow!
Hey nerds, welcome to the Unused Substitutes podcast. I'm Dan, and I'm joined by the opposite of Benjamin Button, the man who can't stop getting older, Ben Wilcox. How are you?
Older, yeah, okay, older, fair. I did age horribly, but I also got more awesome as I aged, so you can just deal with that.
Well, when you're starting from a negative, you can only really get positive.
Positive is positive. I don't care where you start from, it's where you end, buddy. And so far, I'm killing it. No, as I'm sure some of you will hear, I don't sound 100%, which I feel great. After spending 4 days basically in bed last week, it was awful. I had the plague, so that was fun. I recommend it to no one. Yeah, I feel pretty good, man. Finally get active, finally get reacclimated, get back into society. So yeah, man, no complaints, man. Life is good. How you doing?
Doing well, getting ready for my family to come visit this week. So they come up Wednesday, so it'll be nice to have a little taste of home for a little bit here. But
Nice.
other than
Okay,
that, it'll be nice.
cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, should we just jump right in and go for this thing?
Yeah,
Just rip off the Band-Aid?
I mean, see, despite all of the anger and frustration and everything from the previous episode, and really being frustrated still, like and saying like I'm tired of looking for silver linings, I think that match, to be objective, was the most complete effort we've seen. Was it the best so far? Like, is it up to our standards? No, that is the other worst team in the league. We should not be drawing them. But I think seeing our big name veterans step up in Leo Fernandez, Forrest Lasso, Guillen, the ones that are healthy anyway, and we'll get more into it, but like Lasso put that team on his back. Like, we actually probably should have lost that game early. We would have been down early if it wasn't for Forrest Lasso, and he held us. But I think if we're going to call them out constantly, we should praise the effort. Is it where it needs to be, or the effort is where it needs to be? Is the cohesion, the tactics, everything else? No, we still have a lot of growth to happen. But I think, 1-1 to Lexington, they scored in the first half, and then Arteaga off a set piece, beautiful header, got his first goal of the year in league play. It was ugly for the first 15 minutes, and I think Steve Coleman addressed that in his post-game comments. He said, we had to grow. We weren't ready for their speed and what they were coming at us, but we grew into the match and kind of took over, and it went back and forth, and I agree. But what did you see?
No, and I'm glad you started with we got to look at both sides of this, because I agree. I mean, as mad and frustrated as I was, and still am to many degrees, I think something I came to terms with at the end of this game is I need to take each game independently for what they are. And yeah, I don't want to just search for silver linings, but I need to recognize the fact that what did I ask for at the beginning before the game started? I posted on socials was I need a team willing to fight, give effort, and fight for the badge the same way we do all the way to the end. And I felt like they did that. We still should have won the game. We could have easily lost. You're right. I think Lasso set the tone right from the beginning. I mean, that goal line save. Whew. I mean, I mean, I don't know where he came from, and all of a sudden he was there, and thank God for that, right? And it wasn't the only one he made like that. Well, on goal line, but I have to agree. I think Lasso really basically said, we're not losing this game. And it may not be pretty, and that's okay. I don't need every game to be pretty. I just need the team to fight. And if you're willing to fight, I'm willing to fight. And they gave us that. So at least I walk away from this one, yeah, frustrated, but at least I feel optimistic and knowing the team is still willing to get out there and do what they can to try and come up with a result. Is a tie against the second worst team in the league what we want? No. Is that our standard? No. But I'm with you. I'm glad they fought back. It was great to see Arteaga finally get a goal in regular season. God, I know I've said this a few times. I really hope that's the turning point for him. That's a goal that he needs. I mean, we've said it. I've said it with you this year. I said it with Matt previous years. I mean, goal scorers need to score goals. I mean, you saw when he scored. What did he do? After he scored, he immediately looked straight up in the air. It's just like, thank God. Like, the weight that had to have been lifted off his shoulders in that moment. I mean, I can only imagine. But it shows you. I mean, like, it weighs on him too. You know, it weighs on him too. And I mean, I know everyone wants to take Arteaga off and leave him off. I get that, but the man's a veteran. I mean, Yakin talked about it. We've talked about it. I mean, the long play here is he's going to be a viable option. We've just got to get him with the ball in the back of the net, and I hope that this will be the turning point for him. Other than obviously the Forrest Lasso goal line stop, was there anything kind of like between first and second half, anything that really kind of stood out for you as far as players or moments of play? Anything could have stood out to you in this game?
That Nick Moon miss that should have won the game. I'm not trying to harp on him. That man has not had a lot of minutes. He is, coming back from injury, and I really think like 7 out of 10 times he scores that, but just he was coming back, and it's unfortunate. I think like if it was any other season for us, we would probably laugh it off. But because of where we are and we needed that result, it feels a lot more like it was one of those encapsulation moments of like, this is the Rowdy season in a nutshell. It does feel that despite everything, we are still just snake bitten and unlucky, which is not fit. Like, it's not a real thing, but like kind of is. But Lasso, I think Leo being stuck out on the right, playing like half a wingback sucks for Leo. We could use him centrally. I still think the Arteaga Wubens pairing is not good. There was a couple of times where Arteaga and Wubens were either like made the same run or they both went for the same ball and nobody was back post to clean it up. And it was like if like comes in and starts with one of them and then Wubens maybe in the 50th, 60th minute for either Arteaga or Mustali to pace or start Wubens first for however you want to do it, since he's been the more consistent scorer.
Yeah.
I just don't think that they have figured out the chemistry, because again, I think they're similar strikers, so they're going to make similar moves. And that's like what worked for the Rowdies in the 2-striker system in the past. One was like a hold up setup, like big number 9, and then you had like Seba to run off of and like clean it up. And I think these two guys are just playing too similarly, but we don't have options. We don't have other strikers to pair. So it goes back to the thing we've been saying in these frustration podcasts of like, please invest in the squad, get us another striker, please, for the love of God. But to your point, the effort was good. The effort was there. There's still a lot of sloppy play, misplaced passes, individual errors. Just like, it's too late in the season to be this sloppy. I understand, things that have happened, and it's kind of was a reset 4 games in, but like, these guys are professionals, and at this level you should, either there's something happening in between training and match day where there's a disconnect on who's making what runs and blah blah blah, but that needs to be fixed. I don't have a single person in mind. I'm not trying to criticize people. It's an overall problem.
No, agreed.
But they show flashes of brilliance, like that Nick Moon miss. That move to get the ball there was gorgeous. Like,
that ball plays beautiful.
So like, I think there's flashes of light. I almost started quoting Celine Dion and caught myself.
Do it. Come on.
It's like, it's all coming back to us now,
Yes.
It's moments of brilliance, flashes of light. Casey's glaring at me. They always seemed right. But anyway, like, we were so close. Like, we have a reset this weekend against South Georgia Tormenta in the Jäger Cup. I would like to see maybe Nate Worth get a run out. Like, I don't mind playing down a little bit to the 12th team. We'll get into that, but like playing down and giving some of these guys that we need for the regular season a rest while trying to build some chemistry as well. You know, Steve Coleman has a lot of choices to make, but also not a lot of options.
Yeah. Well, I mean, funny you mentioned though, because we saw Lewis Hilton on the bench finally, which is
I thought he was off the bench this week, actually.
didn't the late announcement put him on the bench? I thought.
No, I thought he was off the bench on this one, which really
Yeah,
shocked me.
he's on the bench. Lewis Hilton, number 4. They late put him on. It was
Okay.
like a last minute thing. They announced putting him on the bench. Now, I mean, obviously, look, I think that's more of a, hey, you're almost there. Let's bring you with the team. Let's get you back and integrated into the routine of traveling away and, you know, being with the guys and going through the whole process. Because I think that matters too. He's got to reestablish that connection with the team. But I think that's a positive sign. I mean, that we can get into a little more about how that may or may not affect substitutions or play style going forward. But I think that's a 2-3 week kind of out process before I think we have to really think about that.
Yeah, if he's healthy, I mean, get him, you know, 30, 40 minutes against South Tormenta to get him back in the groove, because like getting Lewis Hilton back to full fitness to where he could play 90. I know he'll never want to do anything but play 90, but if you can get him playing 90, that changes so many parts of our attack, even part of our defense. Like, he's so great at covering. He's great at changing the point, like switching the field and changing the attack. Like, he is just such a important piece to this club that has not been here through this rough patch. And I'm sure it's eating him alive. Like, you know, like,
yeah, I mean, the guy's a competitor.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to be out there, especially if he's in practice doing the drills and he's going the full time. I mean, maybe he's got an ice bath afterwards. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, if he's healthy enough to get himself to the point that he's on the bench, I'm sure he is probably just chomping at the bit to get on that damn thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited to see him back on the bench. I'm with you with Leo on the winger. I don't like it. I think whenever Neil officially made that move to put him more central with Gonzatti, I think we really saw where I think Leo's true position needs to be at this stage of his game. That's probably me saying he's probably doesn't have the legs or the speed to be a winger anymore, and that's probably true. He could probably do it in spurts, but I think we need to have a Leo in the middle up top of the diamond. I think that's where he needs to be, I think, for him to have success, and I think he can push Lubens and Arteaga where they need to be as well. I would love to see Hilton get back in there and be the drone. That's not a knock on Chrysostomo. I think he's done a very serviceable job. I think in moments he's done really well in that role. Vekizil, I never get his name right. We're just going to roll with it. I think he's done well as a defensive or holding defensive mid. But I think we can all agree that if we have the option, Hilton's the guy we want there. And I think, not to say he fixes all these problems, because there's still a lot of issues. Like you alluded to, we're turning the ball over the middle of the field way too easily, and we're getting caught negatively as far as numbers on the counter way too often, which is just leaving our defense exposed on a defense that doesn't have a lot of pace. It has a lot of experience, but does not have a lot of pace, and every team knows it now. I think it's obvious at this point, if you want to beat us, you got to set it over top with somebody fast enough to get in behind our defense and give them a chance. Okay, well, if they know that, then we need to be aware as well. So we need to be more efficient and more clinical with our passing. But I know we also don't want to come one-dimensional, so you have to play through the middle of the field. Again, this is where I want a Hilton and a Leo, because I think they give us more, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, assurance? Yeah, look, you're the smart book person here. You find the word, you say it. But you know what I'm trying to get
yeah, it
at.
just makes us more dynamic in that attack, and it's more,
Yes.
there's more confidence in those guys. I think I would probably sit Van Kezio over Chrysostomo if Hilton comes back, which that you actually talking about the midfield brings up. The English leagues are done, so that means Cammy McPherson's contract with his parent club is done, or just about done, which means his loan is over and he's been hurt. So maybe we should reach out to the club and figure out what is going on there. Because again, if we're losing Cammy, hey guys, invest in the dang club. Like, these loans are not working. And, you know, Cammy turned out to be a linchpin of this club, especially with Hilton being down. And when we lost both of them, the midfield collapsed. So, like, you could also pin a lot of that on Cammy going, like this crumbling on Cammy going off, which is either a coincidence or just shows how important that role is in this club. And so, yeah, I think we can reach out there, but I don't know. We haven't heard anything.
Yeah, nothing yet.
But
You had also, we talked about, I saw you and you'd mentioned something about how this is probably not one of Ollie's better games. And I have to agree with you. I wonder if you want to kind of expand on that a little bit.
yeah, I thought he was one that just his passing seemed off. He wasn't as energetic. He wasn't in he was second to a lot of balls he usually wins. I don't know if he's tired or just, travel. I mean, off weeks are allowed. Like this isn't, name and shame. I think if he played a normal Ollie Bassett game, we probably would have had a better game and might have actually won. But, those things happen. That's why it's a team sport. Like, if your one center mid is having a bad game, you hope your other one, picks it up or something like that. But it was symptomatic though. Like Ollie was giving the ball up, Van Kazil was giving the ball up, Chrysostoma was giving the ball up. Like the midfield was very sloppy in possession, a lot of bad giveaways, misguided passes. But it was a down game for some. But Forrest Lasso, colossal effort. Like so many, that man put his body on the line repeatedly. And I played an hour of soccer on Saturday at 40, and I don't know how Forrest Lassos was able to do that even at his age. Like I'm still feeling it.
Shout out to your wife for getting in goal. Well done, Casey.
I wish we had video. In stoppage time, there was a shot, and she went over the top of somebody and to hit it and flipped over and landed on the turf. And
oh my God.
Yeah, she was a hero. We won. We beat the Manchester United birthday boy. Rip. But it was a lot of fun. I just don't know how people do that regularly anywhere older than 30.
Yeah, I'm with you. And something that we talked about too, kind of shortly after the game, as we were texting back and forth. And, I agree with you. I mean, always allowed to have an off day. The guy has been the anchor in that defense, trying to keep us moving, keep things flowing. But we can't depend on him. And I think he carried a lot of the shoulders. So for him to have an off game, and I think for the team to still rally and come back and get that goal, I think it's a good thing, not just for the team, but I think for Ollie's will to know that he doesn't have to carry everything so much. Because one thing you don't want is you don't want any one individual player to carry the weight of the team when things are going bad. And that's easy to do. Something that I think Arteaga has been guilty of. Look, he just hasn't been good enough. He looks like he's aged 4 years in the off season. Like I'll say it, he doesn't look great. He looks like he's lumbering out there. But I've said in previous podcasts that it just looks like he's carrying a lot of weight, a lot of pressure, because he is a veteran on this team. Same way that Forrest does. Like they understand the weight of going through a tough season, and because they are such important pieces in our lineups that. Yeah, I mean, look, naturally they have high expectations for themselves. I mean, look, this is what they do for a living. Yeah, I think it was good that we were able to fight and not depend on Ollie to have a good game to do that.
Yeah, I think it helps build morale within the club as well.
Yeah.
When you don't have to, when you can have an off game and everything doesn't immediately go to crap, like that, you can take a little bit of pressure off yourself and you build faith with your teammates. So that, I think we talked about it, I think last week, where a lot of these guys are trying to do too much on their own because they don't trust everybody around them. And I think there was a lot more trust built. And somebody's red card might be at play for that because it looked a little bit more calm, cool, collect, and a little bit less chaotic.
Yeah.
Not mentioning names, but you know who I'm talking about.
Whatever do you mean?
So I think that played. I think that energy, there was a lot more calm. Even when things got a little out of hand, that calm was necessary and important. So I definitely maybe we should look at that going forward. But
yeah, I'm with you there, and I agree. I mean, I was happy to see. I felt good about the lineup when it was posted. I was surprised by the keeper change. I don't know. It could be any number of reasons. I think making the change isn't a knock, either for or against Kempisi. Sometimes you just got to make a keeper change. It is what it is. I don't think it made a difference in this game. I don't know that he makes that save or not. But I thought Bunger had himself a pretty decent game as well. Good on him. You get your chance. That's what you want to do, right? I mean, that's what you're here for. I was a little surprised by that. To not see. I'm sorry. No, that was kind of the one that I was kind of surprised by. Pretty much the rest of the lineup was kind of what I expected. I don't know. I mean, were there any changes or anything that you were surprised by? Would you have made any earlier subs? Because that was one thing we talked about is our substitutions were a little interesting. Were they the right time? Because you talked about the science of substitutions. Should you be doing it sooner? All that. Like, I wonder what was your take on that?
John Silver brought up the point of like Woobens and Leo being two of the subs that came off at a time in a critical time. And the Woobens one, I can see the argument against taking him off. Leo, I think, is still under management, like minutes management and load management. He's older. He's had a lot of, like, the Achilles injury, muscle injuries, so they're probably careful. But Woobens, maybe we need to go be a little bolder and put all three attackers on and put like Arteaga a little out wide and Woobens out wide, put Mustali in the middle or like right behind them or something as a hold up play, like, and let him, lead the attack. If, get a little creative in those moments, go for it. You're the worst team in the league. Well, you have nothing to lose now. So overloading on attackers and getting creative, maybe it sparks something going forward. I do think we are a little late on subs sometimes. If you're trying to change the game, like get them on a little earlier, if you want. But also, like, our bench is thin, like, yeah, there's 7 names there, but like, or 8 names there, but they're teenagers and, academy contracts and half hurt players or like, so it's hard. Right now, we're still walking that fine line. Like, we're not at full strength, but I do agree with John Silva about like maybe taking off your most talented and potent players in those key moments for like subs is a little weird and maybe not the best decision. Maybe, like I said, if you want to overload, but I am not the coach. I have never managed a soccer game in my life other than Football Manager years ago or a game of FIFA. So take what I want, take what I believe with a grain of salt. I just read books. But yeah, that's what like, how did you feel? Like, what did you see? Was there anybody you would sub on or sub off or do anything different?
So I was surprised we did Nick Moon for Pesius. I think it's an interesting swap because I don't know that that's a like for like. I don't know that Nick Moon is a striker. I mean, maybe he's showed something that we don't see, but I would think that he would make more sense in an Arteaga role. I think, look, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe Lubens needs a break. Maybe he's been running. Maybe he needs some rest. Maybe there's a plan for Jägermeister. Maybe the goal is to go out for Jägermeister this week. I don't know. There could be anything behind that. I just thought that's an interesting position. The Bodley Skinner substitution, I mean, that one seems to be pretty consistent. I know John was asking us about moving him in the back and either swapping Gian or pulling Gian in and putting Skinner back further. But it seems like Coach Steve, sorry, Steve Coleman, seems to really like him in that winger role with on the left hand side, and I think he's done well. I think he does seem to fit that role pretty well. I'm happy with it. Leo was in the 87th, so I think maybe waiting that long, especially when I don't know the game was really any more or less in our hand at that point. Maybe you make that sub a little sooner from Mustali, but at that point you've already taken off Woobin, so it's like it's tough, right? But again, like this is where we talked about we need to see investment in strikers. We need to see another. I think it's proof at this point that we need another person up top to push the edge. I mean, even in years past, we had that guy from Germany, the Schroeder or whatever, Felix Schroeder or whatever. But he played like 2 games, one in preseason, another one in the mid game. Showed it one more time, but he was an extra guy. He's an extra guy pushing that front line, and maybe he was never going to see the field, but his job, his role, is to push whoever is getting that starting role and say, "Hey, you need to be on your A game because if you don't, I'm right here." And we don't really have that, and I don't know if bringing in Moon into Woobin's position is maybe his way of trying to push the two of them. Or if it's just, look, it's a necessity thing because we are where we are where it comes to substitutions. I think I'd like to see Nate Worth get another run. I don't know if starting him again is good. He had a rough couple games. And no knock to him. He's a young kid still trying to establish himself in a professional level. And I think he does way more good than bad. But I think if you bring him on to substitution in the 65th minute, I think it gives him an opportunity, or 60th minute gives him more of an opportunity to get in and have an effect. But when the issue is the turnovers in the middle of the field, which is something he has kind of been susceptible to, I don't know. It's such a tough call, and I don't really know if there's anybody else on the bench that I'm pulling for. And it's not a knock on the young guys that are there. I don't see how any of them make us stronger or shore up that back line or the midfield at that point. If you need guys to finish out a game, okay, I can see that. But we're at least felt like we were still trying to go for it at that point. And I don't know there's anyone else you can pull from at that point that I think makes a desired change you're looking for as a, as a coach.
I agree. And I think at this point, there's no reason to ever not be going for it. Like I said, we're the worst team. You can only go up. Like, if we're the worst by 20 points or the worst by 3 points, we're still the worst. I'd rather go down swinging than like, oh, well, we're safe point on the road. Well, that's not going to get us out of this hole at this point. But I do think like Nick Moon coming in and like if we put Nick Moon in if you're going to pull Woobens off, put him on the right-hand side in that wing-back position and move Leo up centrally if he still has the legs.
I can see that.
You can bring in Worth for like Chrysostomo or Van Casio and let him try to, well, not Van Casio, for Chrysostomo because Worth isn't really that defensive mid. He's an attacking mid.
You got to leave at least Van Casio in that role.
Yeah. I do think like, I was going to ask you a question, and this is pure speculation, and it dawned on me while thinking about John Silva's question about, contracts are so shady in the USL. And I know in European leagues, I don't know if it's going to be if the USL does anything like this or MLS does anything like this with USL. But do you think there might be a minutes clause for Woobens?
I don't know that we're at that point with USL contracts. We absolutely could be. That would be a great question for like a Jochen Graf. And you know what? I think that's something I might pose to him. I don't think it would be, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities because look, at this point, we know we're going to be leaning on this guy for the remainder of the season. Are we really going to start docking minutes now?
Right. Like it just doesn't feel weird. Like it feels very weird that the guy producing the most goals and that has the legs, like he's not fading, keeps getting taken off almost at the exact same minute. So as if like like he has hard minutes. So it just made me like thinking like maybe his loan deal that like if he meets X minutes in the regular season in the USL Championship, we have to, it initiates a buy, like an automatic buy clause or something like that. I know.
Freaking buy him then. Damn. I mean, if that's the case, buy the kid. I mean, we could use him for Christ's sake.
Right. Like,
at that point, just run him out as soon as I'm like, boom, here's the check. Keep moving.
Yeah, I agree.
And while you're at it, send us another striker. No, it's an interesting point. I don't know. Man, I wonder would minutes thing. I don't think that would be a USL thing. I could see it at the MLS level for sure.
Yeah, I mean
because he's still owned by the not the Toronto team. Was the team
is it Nashville?
Is it Nashville? Oh,
let's find out.
Hold on, passes.
Yeah,
I don't remember off the top of my head. I should probably know these things, but that would require research, people. And I don't do research. It would be interesting if it was. We seem to have a pretty good partnership with them.
Yeah, he's from Nashville. He is Canadian, but he plays for like Nashville is his parent club.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, please don't take him. They're playing fine with that. They do not need him. Please, for the love of all that is good and holy.
Yeah, we haven't had much luck with loans, so I'm fingers crossed. Like it just feels like it's the perfect season that we get our legs under us, and they're gonna like recall him because they're having an injury crisis or something, and we're gonna be back at square one with one striker.
Yeah, this will be this game will be the turning point. We'll actually start putting some minutes and some games together. And next, see ya. And oh yeah, we also don't have Wazzy for who knows how long. So yay. So I don't know, man. What a year.
It really is.
What a year. I feel like this has been like a couple seasons all together. We've joked a couple times, like what a heck of a year to come back. And especially in our 50th, anniversary.
We made it memorable.
To have this.
It's a memorable year.
All the wrong reasons. I mean, this is not what I would remember.
No.
But look, if we take something from this year, I mean, at least give me fight till the end of the season. Wherever we end up. And again, because the USL is so USL, the top 8 teams get in the playoffs. I mean, honestly, the bottom 4 are not separated by that much. You get 3-4 wins, and there you go. You're right back in the mix because all the 4 teams above us, while they keep beating us, aren't beating really anybody else. They're only tying. Gives us there's a window there for us to do something. Now, Is that still good enough? No, but again, I will take a team that will fight to the end over just rolling over, because that at the very least has got to be your bare minimum. Do you think so? We talked early on, especially into Steve Coleman's tenure with us. I mean, obviously, we're talking a very small package, but one of the hardest things to build for a new coach is team chemistry, right? Do you feel like that has grown? Do you feel like not just this game, although I do think this game definitely showed some of that. Do you feel like that chemistry is starting to show itself a bit? Maybe not in a complete game, but do you think there are we seeing some of that more?
I think this game, especially this past one, showed the club finally coalescing around character. I think that strength of character, the mentality was there. And I think, like we said, we needed the Leos, we needed the Forest, the Guians, we needed that core group to do something and drag this team out of that like malaise and out of the rut. And it does feel like that is starting to happen. I wouldn't say it's there yet, but I think there's a spark of belief coming back. When Lexington scored, and I still believe it's true that I said like that Miami Jäger Cup game shattered what was left of the Rowdies. Like I truly believe we were up 3-0. We were flying, we looked amazing, and then we lost in penalties, and it just felt like any previous identity, like the Neil Collins era was officially dead and gone. That was like even though like everything that came after is probably you could call rock bottom, it feels like that was it. That was the moment this team broke. And unfortunately, it's taken longer than I would like for them to rebuild who they are and figure it out. But I think we finally saw a step. I'm not saying everything's solved. I'm not saying we're going to win everything from here on out. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that was the first match that it felt like this team has come together. We had that late Nyanga Berry equalizer where he like did it himself. But like, I think that draw was in spite of ourselves. I think this was an identity kind of building match that, yes, it was messy. Yes, it's Lexington. I agree with all of that, but I do think it was important for their psyche to get that 1 point and do what they did in the way they did it. So yeah, I do think the chemistry is starting to build. I think it needed to break probably, like that. Sadly, maybe those games had to happen. We needed to hit rock bottom. And I think now we can actually build. I think there was maybe some egos got crushed. Maybe there was some harsh words in the, like maybe some punches were thrown in a locker room. I don't know what happens in those situations.
It'll be the first time.
Right. Like, so it does feel like something we might have turned a corner. Don't quote me on that, and don't come at me in 3 weeks if nothing has happened. But it did feel better at the end of that one than all of the other games.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm with you. And the reason I brought that is because this game we didn't fight back and get into this game because of one player. Granted, it did take a monster effort from Forrest at the back line, but it wasn't just him. Like the whole team, even when the mistakes are happening, I saw us quickly getting back to win the ball back. I saw a team committed to try and drag us back into this game, even if it's ugly. And look, what is it? Better to win ugly than lose pretty? I mean, so look, we tied, but I will take an ugly tie with a team dragging themselves into place. And yeah, look, we had a number of key positions down. I think Lewis Hilton, if he is truly healthy, which obviously would be on the bench if he's not, but I think if he's on his way back, I mean, I think that bodes well with the spine of this team. I also think that Hilton, when and if, allows us to play more players in natural positions, which also helps guys play more comfortably, because we see a lot of guys playing out of position right now, which is tough to do. For most everyone that's going to listen to this, probably at best, maybe one of y'all played college. But most of us played club ball or something, and it was tough to play out of position, even at that level. Imagine doing that at a pro level when you have built yourself into a role. And yeah, I know you're all going to be flexible, blah, blah, blah. But you've built yourself into a role, and now you're being asked to basically say, well, you can't use your right foot anymore. Use your left foot. It's tough. Can you do it? Yeah, but doing it at the professional level is difficult. So my hope is that look, we could shit the bed next week, but if the team fights and drags himself forward again and is still moving in that direction, at least I feel like there's something happening. And I feel like the team I feel like they did some of that today. I mean, we'll see. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not excited about the tie. I'm not mad about the tie. I'm indifferent, but at least I don't walk away wanting to punch my screen like I did last week, because that was angry. I was mad. I joked with you, Dan. I said, like, I was ready to go scorched earth on the pod. You're like, no, which was great, because that's soccer. I mean, or football, whatever you want to call yourself. All right. I'm an American, so it's soccer.
It's football. No, it's calcio. But I do think, like, I think Steve Coleman in his post-game comments saying, like, don't give up on us. We haven't given up on us. I think this match showed that he's right. Like, this team hasn't given up yet. And, like, I don't think the fans should be giving up yet. Like, the frustration and anger is normal. We should continue to call out bad performances, let them know we're not happy, but also be there. Like, I think this game is home, or is it in Georgia?
It is at home.
It's South Georgia Tormenta. I know it's not a big draw.
No, but look, we haven't always drawn well against them, though. I mean, like, that's a team. It's a good program. They have a good program out there. It's not going to be a walk in the park. They're a very talented team. They always put out very talented players. We've had a few of them come through our program as well. It's going to be a challenge. I mean, it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, they're sitting 12th in USL League One, but they are top of our Jägermeister group after beating Greenville Triumph. So, like, as we saw in the last Jaeger group match where Charleston lost to FC Naples, you can't take any of these League One sides for granted. I think this is a good opportunity to gain confidence with a good performance and a result. I will do shots of Jaeger if we win. So, I would like that. I would like to have a celebratory pod for the first time this year, because we weren't on air when we beat Miami. We have not had a win other than the FC Naples. But, like, that was in the midst of a bunch of other stuff happening. We haven't really had a positive, happy, winning podcast episode yet. So, things are...
Yeah, I mean, look... So, okay. So, all right. So we're looking this weekend. We've got Tormenta coming in. Do you want, I mean, I know you kind of alluded saying give some guys some rest, but do you want us still trying to go for, I mean, should we, because I mean, I talked about how and you too, how our primary should be on the league, should be on the season. That should be our primary focus. But do we still go for this? Do we say, hey, so let's give it 60 minutes, or 55 minutes, saying we're going to go for this for 55, and depending on where we're at, our substitutions dictate, okay, well, now we start bringing on some of our main starters. Do we say, you know what, no, let's let those guys rest for a game, and let's get them ready for the next league league game? Like, do you want to see us maybe go for this one?
I do. I think, like, maybe sit Leo for the first 60, put Nate Worth in. Maybe, obviously Bassett's probably going to have to get a run out because we're thin. We're so thin that, like, maybe if you want to either let Castellanos and White get a rest, you can throw, was it Rodriguez in that right back role, get him some minutes if you want to.
Yeah.
But
I am not confident with him, but that's just my own personal
right
opinion.
I mean, you can maybe put him in, see where we're at 60, 70, and make that call if you want to give people a rest, or if you want to put Castellanos in the middle and give Lasso a rest. I know defenders need less of a rest. They prefer to,
I don't know, our defense, they've been on constant firing squad all season long.
But I wouldn't mind sitting Leo or a couple of the older guys that have been injured, and like letting Nate Worth have a run out for 60 minutes. Maybe either Wubens or Arteaga benched for Mistali and let him get a full run out. I don't mind that. And then, like, if it's 0-0 at 60, then yeah, throw some of the big guns back on and go for it. I do think the Jägermeister Cup is worth going for. We don't have the Open Cup anymore. Playoffs are a coin toss if we make it.
If we get there, it's a bonus at this point.
So might as well maybe just go all in on the Jaeger. Just put all your chips in there and maybe build some confidence in the group stage that carries over to the regular season. I'm okay with that. But
Yeah, I think oddly enough, I think if I were to say I'm with you, I'm willing to go for it, but I'd almost make the exact reverse subs to the point of I think you could start Skinner, and I think you could leave Bodley off. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
yeah, I agree.
I think Skinner's done well, and I think he's earned an opportunity to start in that role. I think he's done a good enough job. While I'm happy to see Big Manu get that goal, I'm so happy for that guy to get a goal. I still say let him stay off, let him rest. I think you give Mustali the run out. And then Moon, I'm not as sure what to do with yet. How did you feel like, I mean, I know that he only got about, what, 18 minutes of run out there. Like, what was your thoughts on his play? I know we didn't get a ton up top with him. I know he missed the one opportunity, and that's fine. That's whatever. How did you feel he did in that role up top? Do you feel like he was effective up there?
I think he's effective. I think he needs more time, and I think he needs to, be fit. I think he has talent. I think, he is an asset that we have not been able to actually use because he's been often injured, sadly. Like, he's another one. Like, maybe give him the first half and, like, let him grow, get him some minutes and get him in there. I think he is a talent. I liked his signing when we brought him over. And I would like to get him back to being that threat, especially with Nyangabiri being out. But it's, like, how much can his body give at this point? Like, it hasn't been too much. So you don't want to push that, especially when we're in this crisis.
Yeah. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Moon has traditionally been more of a wing back role,
Yeah.
correct? No, I think we can push him into the winger role. I think putting him maybe, is he left foot or right foot? I want to say he's left footed, but I mean, could we move him into, say, that right winger role, like into the Wazi role?
Yeah, I think we should try.
Because I think I'd like to see Leo maybe push to the top of the diamond, maybe let Worth and Vankizil play the center, and then put Leo on top of that triangle, and then leave, I think, Skinner on the left and move Moon out right. Give him a chance. Give him an honest run. Like, I think I don't know if he's 90 fit, but like you said, give him that first half, give him the first like 55 and kind of see where he's at. I think this is a good chance to see those guys in those kind of minutes, right? Because there's nothing, I won't say there's nothing lost, because I think it takes away the value of this cup, which I actually think I like this cup. I think you and I agree on this one. Like, I actually genuinely like this one. I think there's a value to it. And sorry to all you Open Cup homers, Stephen Cundiff. I don't care as much about that one. I think this cup, has a little more value to me. And I think this is a chance that we can kind of do something that I think actually benefits the league, which is what I'm truly rooting for as well. So I don't know. That was kind of kind of an out loud thought I had.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy thinking lineups and having that talk, and I think like it's who should. I mean, we were not in training. I can't see who's putting in the effort, what it looks like to give a full rundown there. But like you said, I do love the Jäger Cup, and I think Mike Pendleton has touched on it on Blue Sky, and we had a little chat about it about how like everything about the Jäger Cup is what the Open Cup should be. It's integrated into season ticket packages. It's not really adding much to the competition, like to the players' minutes and legs. It is advertised very well by the league. It's promoted very well by the league. It has its TV deal or its streaming deal. So it's accessible for us, that aren't there. That's accessible for, it's not midweek. It is on a weekend. The group stage is planned out enough to where you can, plan to be there. So it's not, oh, by the way, next Wednesday you're playing here, blah, 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 blah. So, it is set up very well. And as opposed to MLS's and Mexico, like the League's Cup, it doesn't feel like a cash grab. It actually feels like a legitimate tournament being built and something that's fun. And it's like, and I think what's cool about the lower division community in the USL especially is how unserious we are. Like we love our clubs, we love, these things, but like, we're talking about if we win, we'll do shots of Jaeger on air and there's in League One, there's the Hennessy, like the Henny Derby, it's these unserious things. We can make the Jäger Cup something fun, and it's like a clean slate. The Open Cup, sadly, because the internet is a hellhole, has become this weird pro-rel like camp versus like big money MLS monopoly camp, and it's become a weirdly like partisan fight over the Jägermeister's USLs. It's ours. We can make what we want. We can have fun with it. So I think that's like something that draws me to it as well. So like,
Plus, it feels like everyone's taking it seriously.
yeah, well, the players get money. Like also the players get rewarded, so they care.
That's like, it feels like, because I mean, how many times have we seen in the past where an MLS team sends their two side, or all the players that will never see time all in the early stages of this game because they don't take any of the teams they play against seriously.
Yeah, or they
like, I like the fact that this tournament feels serious. This feels like a legit competition. And to your point, one thing I love about USL over MLS, even though I do enjoy MLS, mostly Miami because I love Messi, blah, 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 insert joke, whatever. I don't care. I love Messi. There's a much more personal touch to your point. Availability of fans and supporters to the club and to the players. Like, it's a much more personal relationship than it is where MLS is very much more corporate. And I get it. It's big money, it's big dollars, big contracts. I understand that's just part of the machine. And that's one of the things I love at this level is that you have that contact. And it does exist. And I think it only exists because of what USL is.
Yeah. Talk to longtime FC Cincinnati fans. A lot of them will tell you the soul was sucked out of the club when they made the USL to MLS jump. They still love their club. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but it changes drastically. And part of it is necessary, like for player safety, things like that. But like, that is probably why, like, I still have the love of the Rowdies, the passion to do the show is the access. It's that community. It is a friendship, like, yeah, like my connections and friendships are a little weirder than most and ties to the club, but like, it's something you won't get in MLS and I think that's important. And I think the Rowdies have usually, and most USL clubs have been very good at nurturing that community and that connection. And I think that's fantastic. And, could all of the clubs, but I can't speak for all, could the Rowdies do better at some things? Yeah. But, like, it's those post-game things at like Oakenstone or at Yowman's back in the day, or where, I don't know, or the Avenue a couple years ago, or those are great. Like, have some post-game drinks with the players, and the players for what it's worth have been great. They don't need to come out after they just worked and hang out with people, but they do. And like, I know some of it is in their contract. They have X amount of hours. They have to blah, blah, blah. But they're personable. They enjoy it. It's fun. And it means something to fans. And I think that's really cool. And I think the Jäger Cup can be another brick in that wall of like, or just another rope or like thread in that connection. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think you're right. I think it's something that can, I think, be well established and really become something big that is tied league. It's hard to get something new like this when it finally rolls out to really hit. And I think they've done enough of the things they need to really make this be, I think, successful and draw people in, which is hopeful because this is just year one of it. And there's an opportunity to go bigger with it. And to your other point, like as far as like player access, I mean, the guys at the end of the game walk out that gate one entrance and they sit there and they chat with, and there's usually like a crowd of a lot of the same people. There's always the wives, or for those that have their girlfriends there, the girlfriends are hanging out, but you've got, a row of like the Nancys and some of the more hardcore old school fans that are all sitting there, and they love to have chats and conversations. I always hear them talking about like their wives and kids and families. That stuff's amazing, and you lose it at the next level. Again, understandably so, but I love that exists at this level. I do wish, and this is something I know you agree on, I wish the Rowdies would just unleash our social media team. I feel like we have some really good people in that social media side that if you let the creative department get creative and embrace this level, it could be so much fun. And especially when you have a season that is dragging, I think you need... I think that's such an important role or tool that you have in your shed that you can use to kind of lift people up or give access to it and allow people inside the doors a little more. Because I do feel like our social media team is putting stuff out, but I'm like, you can feel it. Like, you can see it on the TikToks, you can see it on the Instagram, like you can see it's there, but it's like, can we take can we take the cap off and let them go ham for a little? Let them have some fun.
I mean, obviously, massively biased. Jake gave this show legitimacy. One of my best friends. Love that man to death. But yeah,
Yes.
he should be unleashed. And I think he needs a team around him that he could also unleash. And I like also to bring it back to the other part, I think it gives clubs an identity. Like it helps add into that identity, right? Like you are in love with MLS and Orlando City's like villain, embrace the bad guy, like image that they had, and their social team has embraced that. Like, I think you can let the social team and the club mesh and give it voice and character and, to go with the players' style and things like that. I think you're right. Like, that is something that has changed relatively recently under the new ownership, I would say. I think they have muzzled it a bit. I think Bill Edwards kind of let Mike and Nico do a little bit more sass.
So he's a muzzle. It was just here, do it.
Yeah, and it worked. And I think the Rays have wanted to be a little bit more corporate, which is
MLB. I mean, I get that there are so many things legally and all. I get there's so many things that rule over that level, but this is USL.
Yeah, I mean, that Minnesota United, when they beat your Messi team, and they said, Chapel Roan, using that, pink phony club was a brilliant post. Brilliant posting.
Awesome.
Loved it. So it was so good, David Beckham got annoyed. Those are the good things.
Yes.
Yes, let Jake piss off, I don't know, Birmingham, or let me do that. Or, Charleston, or, you know what I mean? Let this team piss off some people.
Charleston with the whole Pedro thing. Tell me that was not the catchiest damn thing all last season, and it was really good. And it's so dumb, but it was great.
I mean, look.
I mean, you got Mackenzie Collins over there with Jake, two people that I think that creatively could really do some great stuff with that side of our team. Just again, my call out to the ownership and to whoever makes that call, please let them trust them. You hired them, trust them to do the work that they were hired to do. I promise you will not regret
Jake is one of the most creative and funny individuals I know. I love, again, I love maybe slightly biased, but I love that man with my whole heart. And he's one of the most crazy, like you said, he was hired for a reason. He gave this dumb show and everything legitimacy, but not just legitimacy, life, fed us a lot of the stuff that we were able to use. So please let him spread his wings and be the voice of this club that he so has earned and deserves and can do. But I agree, it would be nice to unshackle.
We got a little off the soccer topic, but that was something that's been eating at me for weeks. And it's just because you brought it up and I'm so you guys know, obviously I have my reservations when I talk negatively about the team, because obviously, look, I work for the team. So I care about this team, but I mean, ownership knows. I mean, Ryan and Jeff and all the guys that run the club, they know how much I love this club. They've seen what it means to me. I mean, and I look, maybe it's to a detriment, but I'm an eternal optimist when it comes to the club. And I look, maybe I see them only through rosy glasses, but that's fine. I love this club and I want to see them flourish no matter what. I mean, this is my boyhood club. This is the first club, professional anything team I ever had the chance to experience, and being able to not only work for the team but also do this podcast, the friends I've made, you and the other, the rest, the friends I've made through being with Rowdies, I mean, it's so much a part of my life. It is a part of my identity, and I'm happy to say that. I'm proud of that. And I have very high expectations for the team, and I think people that know me know that when I'm critical, it comes from a point of love for this club, not from I'm trying to throw out a comment to stir interest or content. That's never the reason I do it.
No, that's why I do it. It's completely malicious and just for content. I absolutely hate this club, and I'm actually just...
It comes true. Now, dude, if you people listen to how much this guy talks about New York, you might actually believe some of the things he's saying right now. It's awful. I mean, he's going to become a Yankees fan before I know
it. I have a Rowdies tattoo. I don't think I'm going anywhere.
Fair. I don't even have a Rowdies tattoo. Does that mean I'm next?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to come. We can come up with a tattoo bet for you.
Well, let's be honest. I don't know that any are going to come true this year, but you know what? It makes come up with an outlandish one. Why the hell
we
not?
Win a game.
Sad face. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that'll
happen.
It
will. Guys, Look, we got to keep faith here. I know that people want us to yell and scream and kick and whatever, and I get why you guys feel that way, because I feel that way too. But again, I at least I left this game, and I'm going to try and take each game individually for what they are and move forward from there. Because at this point, that's really all I can do. Yeah, I'll take a holistic view at the season at certain points, but at this point, my rock bottom is a team that fights and continues to fight to the end of the game. And at least I saw some of this game. I'll be curious to see what they do against Tormenta. Who knows, man? Maybe, like I said, maybe that game was exactly what needed. Maybe giving some guys some rest and bringing some players on who have been getting some minutes, maybe stepped away. Maybe this is a good chance for them to kind of build their legs and start pushing the guys that are starters in those roles. And maybe this is the thing to kickstart it. Maybe it means absolutely nothing. But I would rather be optimistic and think that it could mean something and keep hoping for the best.
Yeah, I mean, we also have to talk. We talk about this crap every an hour every week. I'm not going to be negative the whole time. I'm going to make jokes.
Right.
We're going to have fun. Like, we need to entertain ourselves at the very end of the day. So yeah, I mean, I do also think optimistically that was a moment. I mean, consistency has been the lacking thing. But, maybe we did turn our corner. Maybe we didn't. You and I are not in the locker room. We're not there training. We can only read the tea leaves as they fall on a Saturday evening and then just yap for an hour and go from there. I love this club, like you said. I love this club too much to be down on that much and just yell and scream. Also, that's not fun for anybody. I'm sure listeners don't want to hear us screaming and whining and complaining all the time. Also, I have a very morbid sense of humor. So, if this keeps up, it's just going to be gallows humor from here on out. I don't care.
Okay. But if that happens, though, we are definitely getting you a boom mic, because I've got to have more hand movement. I need the hands. Okay. It's so important that we have the hand motions. For you guys that only listen, you are missing out, because there is an opportunity here. Tell Dan to get a boom mic and get some decent headphones, for Christ's sake, please.
Yeah, the headphones will have to happen. I also, we're way off topic, but I have another creative project or two coming out that are not soccer related. So I'm investing in some gear shortly.
Yes, good. No, and that's good. I think I have an idea of what it involves. To tie back into the game, man of the match,
Forrest Lasso, by far.
Yeah. So for the sake of not giving the same Forrest Lasso, who I think is 100% deserving, I'm going to give it to Arteaga, which is traditionally against my go-to getting to the goal scorer. But I think, look, it was a good goal. He was right in front of net. He buried it confidently. It was a good free kick. I was very happy to see him get the ball back.
Who sent that ball in? My brain is.
That was Leo. So Leo plays short to Ollie. Ollie played to Leo, and then Leo.
It was a beautiful,
and that was a beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, gorgeous ball. I mean, like, dropped a dime on that back
post. It was right on Arteaga's forehead at back post. It was beautiful. Leo.
Well, it was also. Sorry,
I was going to say Leo also gets a shout out for runner up for man of the match.
Yeah, and I mean, but if you guys watch and look again, credit to Arteaga. If you watch his run on that play, he was kind of closer towards the middle of the box. He makes that looping kind of long, and then the last 4 or 5 steps gets him behind the defense as the ball's played. It was all by himself to make that. He created that space. He created that goal. So I mean, again, credit to him. I'm very happy for him. So yeah, he would get my secondary man of the match.
Yep, it was a good performance by the people that needed to have a good performance. That's the key to me. At the end of the day, Chrysostomos are always Lewis Hilton's an unsung hero, which we're realizing not so much now that he's out. But the Chrysostomos, the Van Keziels are not going to get the Bodilies. Might not, are not going to get the plaudits often. And that's fine in a moment like this where you needed the Leos, the Lassos, the Arteagas to play up to their reputations, and it happened.
Yes.
So let's take the small victory. Let's move on to Tormenta back at home in the Jäger Cup, and let's get some forward motion. Let's get some forward momentum going. We have to. The only way to get out is through, one foot in front of the other. Its first step might have been taken this weekend. This past we take another step forward against Tormenta.
I'm with you, man. We'll see, and we will talk about it next week. In the meantime, we love you guys, and we will talk to you soon. Come on, you Rowdies.
When the Rowdies play soccer, it's a sight to behold. You'll swear they'll be devils with magical toes. You'll laugh, you'll cheer, you'll leap from your seat when they kick with their head instead of their feet. The Rowdies run here, the Rowdies run there, they kick the ball around. The Rowdies run here, the Rowdies run there, and then they fall on the ground. Oh, the Rowdies, the Rowdies, the Rowdies are kicking the grass. When the Tampa Bay Rowdies take the field, there's a roar. The fans' loyal fannies